Welcome to another edition of Down to the Wire. We got Jim Diakowicz, longtime standardbred starter in the province of Alberta. First of all, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Jim and I go way back, Stampede Park days. Jim worked for me there, and then he's since at that time moved up to work for Kelly Hort. I reached out to him to see the first year in 2015 if he'd be interested in coming back, much to my surprise and happiness that he is. So I think we're a pretty good team.
Yes, well, for sure. We've been around for a long time, so yeah, a lot of years and a lot of, I guess, situations we've been through, and a lot of fun times.
For sure, and it is a fun time, and it's a great part-time job, I think, and it's a tough job. Maybe just give me, so we're here in front of the gate as we are, so Jim sits up here. He's actually facing backwards towards the horses. The driver is down here. Probably one thing we should talk about, just the automatic thing, is that you have the gas, you have the throttle while the horses are behind you.
Yeah, that's correct. A lot of people think that I'm just sitting there just watching the horses, where I actually I control the speed, I control the wings, and I also sometimes answer the phone. No, hopefully the phone doesn't go off during a race. But anyways, yeah. So what I'm going to do is we'll sit in position till at 4 minutes to post. I wait for the clock to hit 0. Then we'll move into our starting position. And when it becomes time to start the horses, I'll honk the horn, give them a recall light, and I'll gather up the horses. And once I have them gathered up, then I have control of the throttle, and I control the speed that till the start of the race. And then after that, Stefan will take over the gas, and then he controls the speed of the truck, where I close the wings. It's basically I'm just as a official. I'm watching the drivers to see if they do any infractions, horses making breaks, any interference, something like that. And basically we follow behind and just kind of watch. If there's an accident, we'll stop and try and help out any way we can. I have a radio that I can call for assistance. So it's basically, we're there just for a backup, in case there is something that goes wrong during the race.
Oh, for sure. So what you're just describing is Jim's the patrol judge. He is an official that reports any interference that's happening during the race. I think, what do you actually watch? So your main role is to make sure everybody's in the right position coming up behind the gate. You get all the equipment or the driver changes and stuff in advance, but that's one of the most important things, is make sure the horses are in the right position.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm watching each individual horse, their equipment, making sure nothing's going. A lot of times checks come undone, knee boots go down, hobbles break, that sort of thing I'm watching. If I notice that before the start, I will hit the recall light and slow down the horses and restart the race. So that's one of the things I'm watching for. Also, horses making breaks, interference. A lot of times a horse might make a break and go sideways and get have interference with the other horse, which then I would signal a recall also.
And that's also another controversial thing. We were talking with Jerry Houdon on standardized racing rules, and it's always tough for the bettor on whether there's a recall or not a recall. So I'm going to say, luckily, we don't have trotters here, and I'm sure somebody's going to make fun of me for that. But having said that, if a horse is coming up to the gate, makes a break, doesn't cause any interference to anybody else, so be it. We have a fair start pole here that's before the start. The judges can determine whether that horse should be refunded, but in all reality, that's not your decision unless there's interference.
Yeah, that's right. I don't. If a horse isn't gonna, as long as his equipment's all right, and there hasn't been any interference. If a horse doesn't make the fair start pole because of a break, I do not I'll just keep going and start the race. And like you said, the judges will take a look at the film, judge where the horse was past the fair start pole or not, and then they'll decide to give a refund, which I think is more fair to the public, because having a recall, it gets the other horses all heated up, and then they might not perform as well as they would have without the recall. So it's not really fair to give another horse another chance to start a race and instead impede other horses that did nothing wrong.
I was just going to bring that up, but I didn't have to. So I think this is the fairest way. You mentioned that you're usually the first one there at the scene of an accident. We don't have many accidents, but it certainly happens. What is your priorities at that time? First of all, the race could still be going on. You could have a loose horse come back at you. What are your priorities as you're there right then?
Yeah, the first thing, usually I'll call out brakes, and then all of a sudden I'll see horses interfered, last week, Keith Clark and Brandon Campbell got into a mishap, and the first thing I do, I'll call out the accident, and I'll just say horses down, and over the radio, and that gets the outright. That obviously the judges, they're sitting upstairs, they're just watching it, but that gives the outrider a chance to she'll notice, if there's a loose horse heading the wrong way, she can react to that. And obviously, if the race is still going, we get out and we try and secure the horses. If the horses are down, we'll try and keep them down and just keep them calm on the track. Have another person that can try and get the attention of the other drivers still in a race, in case they have to go around or something like that. And mostly, I try and it's almost like being an EMS on when you're the scene of an accident. You have to, you kind of are the drivers hurt? Are the horses hurt? Do they need do we need a people ambulance? Do we need a horse ambulance? And I kind of just assess all that and take it from there. Like last week, by the time we got out there, Brandon was already up. He was holding his horse. Keith was down, and he was actually hurt quite a bit more serious than he seemed to be at the time, but instinctively for him, he was already laying on the horse's head, keeping the horse down. So right away, once Brandon was up and the horse was that horse, we started working on the other horse. And lots of times you have to try and take all the equipment off to get the horse up, but sometimes if there's not, if they're not tangled up too bad, we can just basically get somebody on the bike to get the horse up and just flip the bike over, which is way easier to do. It's very dangerous trying to take equipment off on a horse laying down. It's so easy to get, the horse is nervous, scared, very easy for a person to get kicked or thrown, or the horse to throw it, to get up and, fall on top of another person. So, safety is number one.
For sure, and you've done a great job, and you've done it for a long time. Like to wrap this up, thank you for coming to Century Downs when you did for me. I'm hoping you're part of Century Mile in the future as well, but again, you do a great job, Jim, and thanks a lot for all the years of service.
Well, thank you very much, Jackson. It's been a pleasure.